Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, that list includes LEGO Voyagers, Fellowship, and Strange Antiquities. Plus, I finished Arctic Awakening. I got stuck last week, there was a glitch, couldn't get past it, and then it worked.
Did you escape the Arctic?
Is that
a spoiler?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Ooh.
But yeah, the short version of this is I played the game as a preview, and they patched it on day one, and I went back to my Steam Deck and downloaded the patch, and it fixed the thing that was making my game freeze. And in the patch notes, it specifically said fixed a glitch where you can't get out of the cockpit of the airplane.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And so my specific case was an issue that they had to fix apparently on day one. And I was able to run the game flawlessly on my Steam Deck through credits and enjoyed it quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're able to escape at least the cockpit.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You didn't realize that was going to be the challenge all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finished a game this weekend.
Wow, what a treat. What'd you finish?
Death Stranding 2.
Oh, holy crap.
I mean,
that's impressive.
Is it ever really finished?
I was going to say, what does finished mean in that context?
I saw the credits. I completed the story. You know, when you finish a video game, this is pretty typical. In that way, at least, Death Stranding 2 feels like a very typical video game.
Awesome. Good job.
Thanks.
Closing thoughts?
I have some thoughts, but we should do some show business first.
Okay, all right. We have a bit of show business to get to this time.
We do, yeah.
So we will be streaming on Monday night, as we are wont to do on occasional Mondays. This coming Monday, since it is the start of Spooky Month here at Video Game Hangover. Yeah. Well, not just here at Video Game Hangover, but like in the universe in general, it is Spooky Month. So Monday, October 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, DJ and I are going to play Murky Divers. Yeah. It is a haunted shipwreck exploration co-op thing.
Yeah. I do not like the idea of this game.
I mean, being underwater in a video game is horrible anyways, but being underwater in real life is even worse. So yeah, we'll see. It's been out for a little bit. It's gotten some good notices. It's got some positive reviews. It looks like one of those like content warning co-op horror games where not everybody lives and that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, tune in Monday night, October 6th, 10 p.m. Murky Divers. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover for that, or go to our Discord. We'll have an event set up. You can click on that and get a reminder when we go live.
Yeah. Should be fun, ? Yeah. Hopefully, entertaining stream at least.
TBD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a side stream announcement, I want to mention that, as you said, it's Spooky Month, which means I'm bringing back Spooky Saturday.
Nice.
So every Saturday this October, I'm going to be streaming something that is maybe spooky, maybe not so spooky. One of those things. Somewhere in between there. Somewhere on that spectrum.
But spooky adjacent, right? I mean, not...
Spooky adjacent, yeah. I think there was one game I played last year where I was like, I don't know if this is spooky. It might be, it might not be at all, and I think it was not. But it was still a good time. Anyway, going to be doing that whole thing again every Saturday, and that information will be on the Discord as well. I've got quite a list of stuff to get through. In fact, it may spill out into other evenings during the month. So looking forward to it. It's always a fun time.
We're going to have a spooky December. DJ has so many games.
Okay, yeah, it might well be the case. It never gets like, I'm not into the crazy intense horror games.
Yeah.
So it's probably not going to get to that point. But I do try and throw in a few that are like legitimate scary games. So we'll see how it goes. I make a little exception for a spooky month.
Cool. One One of my October commitments is I want to play Alan Wake 2, which I've not played. And I really like Alan Wake 1, and I like Alan Wake American Nightmare. I like Remedy games in general, but somehow have never gotten around to Alan Wake 2. So that is one of my October goals. So I may stream that some night as well. Again, TBD. Cool. We'll put a little asterisk in the corner on that and follow up on that later.
I want that Alan Wake walking simulator. Because I really liked maybe the first 3 or 4 hours of that game where you just arrived in town and you're kind of going to meet people and you're
just walking around
through the forest. Yeah,
Twin Peaks / Stephen King novel. Yeah,
the Twin Peaks game.
Yeah,
and then all the weird shadow lumberjacks start appearing or whatever, and it's not into it anymore. But
Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition is the Twin Peaks game.
I don't really. I mean, that's a rough game to play. Have you played that?
I've attempted to play it multiple times. Yeah, and it is not. It's not fun to play.
Yeah, no, you're that. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, that is the Twin Peaks game, though.
But yeah, and I've got a couple others. There's games coming out later in October that are kind of spooky in tone that I want to get to. So we'll try to fill. Maybe not fill the calendar, but at least get to some spooky games in October, and maybe for Extra Life as well. Which, as an interesting segue, this is a note to all of our listeners that coming up on Saturday, November 8th, is Extra Life Game Day. DJ and I will be participating again for the 12th time. Does that sound right?
Well, I think it's the 12th year. Yeah.
Okay. And this is an all-day streaming event where we play video games. We play video games together. We play video games with folks from our VGHangover community, and we raise money for really cool charity. Children's Miracle Network hospitals. There's a hospital here in Hershey, Pennsylvania that I play on behalf of. And DJ, what's the hospital you play for?
I'll be playing for the Cottage Children's Medical Center. It seems like the name gets longer every year, but yeah, it's a children's hospital in Santa Barbara area.
Yeah. And it's an awesome charity. It's an awesome event. We love doing it. We've done it every year for a lot of years. And that is coming up on Saturday, November 8th. So a little note here to save the date. Pencil that in on your calendar, or again, go to our Discord where there is a reminder you can click on to get a note when that comes around. But we'll be streaming all day on probably at some point on our individual Twitch pages, but as much as possible throughout the course of the day on twitch.tv/VGHangover.
Yeah. Plus, they're doing something different this year where they've carved out the whole week around the 8th. I forget which side of it falls on. So we may end up doing some little side events around that date as well. But November 8th, Saturday, is the main day.
But yeah, should be good. Lists of games that we'll be playing to be determined. We'll get to that as time comes by.
Oh, yeah. I haven't gotten that far. I was getting nervous.
No, I'm going to put you on the spot. But it's good. I think we usually do some Slay the Spire in there. I get to the daily, and you do, what's that game called? Something with a dungeon. You're
not talking about Slay the Spire still?
Nope, the other one.
Something, the dungeon game.
The dungeon game that you like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always playing it. What game is this?
You don't know what game? You honestly don't know what game I mean?
Like Diablo? I don't know.
It has daily challenges. There was a sequel that came out that you enjoyed as well.
Yes.
I tried to play it, and it was really hard, and I didn't care for it. It's
Spelunky?
a roguelike. Spelunky!
Oh, I don't know if you're in a dungeon in that. That was what threw me off.
Is it not a dungeon game?
You're in a little, like a mine.
So a dungeon.
A mine is not a dungeon.
I mean, in the right context?
Yeah, there's some overlap, but I don't think they're yes, my favorite dungeon crawling roguelike Spelunky.
Is that where I threw you? By calling it a dungeon, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I immediately went to Diablo or something.
All mines are dungeons, but not all dungeons are mines.
I was like, well, what are my conditions for something being a dungeon? Number one, there are skeletons in it. I was like, oh, well, there are skeletons in Spelunky. Maybe it is a dungeon game. I think this is the year that you play the Spelunky daily.
Do I have that game on a device other than my Vita?
I mean, if you're gonna play it, I will finance a copy of Spelunky
interesting.
for you.
Okay, put a pin in this. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. Oh, you bet we're gonna come back to this.
Well, then I get to pick a game for you.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay.
Ratchet and Clank.
But we've already been over this. Oh,
I know.
Man. Do I have to do that during Extra Life? Well, okay, we'll figure this out.
Yep.
We'll have it sorted out by November.
We're writing checks that I can't cash here, so we'll come back to this. But yeah, lots of stuff going on, all kinds of streams, all kinds of events. Definitely go to VGHangover.com for some of these details, but the repository for all of these events will be on our calendar, on our Discord. So again, go to VGHangover.com for a link to that and join up and and have fun with us.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
Definitely. It is my most favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't feel like it here in Pennsylvania. It is 90 degrees and humid and gross. I've not worn a single hat or hoodie at all this year so far. I have had no hot cocoa. I have had no desire to carve pumpkins. I just warm all the time, man. I'm not about it.
Are you a big hat guy?
I like a beanie.
A beanie? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a baseball hat guy.
Yeah, I was trying to picture you as a hat guy. I wasn't sure. I just started thinking about Diablo again.
I have a floppy sun hat that I wear walking my dog so I don't burn to death.
Yeah.
Or like music festivals, I'll wear a sun hat just to, again, not burn and regret my life.
How big of a sun hat are we talking here?
I don't know. It's definitely like a boonie hat. It's got like a 3-inch rim around it.
Kind of like one of those like a little. I think of them as like a fisherman kind of hat.
Definitely, yeah.
Kind of very outdoorsy.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Right.
It was an Amazon Lightning special, so I don't know. I can't vouch for quality. It's one of the only hats I own, but it keeps the sun out of my eyes and stops my neck from burning. And the tops of my ears, that's the worst. Sunburn on the tops of your ears.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yeah. All right, well, that's what a hat's supposed to do. So
yeah, but I would like to not think about those things. I would like it to be fallish.
Oh, yeah. You want it to be
I would like
season.
it to be autumnal.
Yes. That's I think that's what we all want. It's like, can we raise the autumnicity? I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Was it like last Monday was like the first day of autumn, and it was like 87 degrees in Harrisburg.
It's no good.
Unacceptable. But anyways, positive things.
Positive things. So there's no more Death Stranding ever.
No, you don't think there'll be a Death Stranding 3?
Oh, I think there might be, actually.
There's a movie. They're making a movie, I know that.
I don't think that'll be good because you wouldn't get to play Death Stranding during the movie. It would be only cutscenes.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, Death Stranding is there's a movie buried in there somewhere already, right?
There's like several movies, depending on how you're dividing it up. I wanted to like just put a cap on it because I didn't play this for like a month because we had the backlog attack.
Maybe put a hat on it.
Put a hat on it, yeah. It's an interesting game to come back to after not playing it because so much of it revolves around building these structures and sort of like networking with other players to like share structures back and forth. So I was coming back to it and I was worried that, all the stuff I had built would have disintegrated because if it goes long enough without sort of being maintained, it just dissolves because the rain in that game is very weird. So I was like, oh man, am I even going to be able to do this? Am I going to like log back in and all those nice roads and zip lines I spent so much time and effort building are just going to be ruined? But much to my surprise, I got a bunch of notifications that are just like, so-and-so being other players playing Death Stranding, have repaired the road or like contributed materials to like maintain your structures. It's like, oh yeah.
Oh wow.
That's kind of how the game works. Because like anytime you're out in the world, and you see a structure, whether you built it or somebody else built it, it gives you the option to like contribute excess materials that you may be carrying to just upkeep whatever the structure is. So it's sort of like everybody's playing co-op with each other. And I just kind of forgotten that was an aspect of it because I'm really focused on just getting the things built in the first place. But I just thought that was very cool. Like, everybody's just been keeping an eye on everything while I've been away.
And if that doesn't happen, these things just dissolve and they're not there when you come back?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a case where I've been away long enough for it to completely deteriorate. But
oh, interesting.
I do get messages, like, they can get to be in pretty bad shape. And I went around after getting a few of those notifications and with my, like, emergency repair materials. And been like, oh man, yeah, this road was almost like pretty bad shape. So rescued a few roads, tried to pay it forward a little bit, help out some other people with their decaying structures. But yeah, just the whole experience of playing this game is so weird. I was really like, I think the last time I talked about it, I was sort of conflicted about like, is this a good use of my time? Because a lot of it just feels like you're sort of running errands and doing busy work. You're like doing chores, kind of, just collecting materials to build these things. But there was an evening after I went back to it where I was just like, I guess I just had a long day or something. And I just thought to myself, all I really want to do is like log into Death Stranding. I'm going to make a list of all these materials I want. I'm going to make a list of all the little like structures I need to visit with my truck. And I just like made a list of errands for myself to do. But I couldn't even describe how I was feeling about it. I was just so like just hyped up to get in my truck and just check some boxes off this big list of the structures I need to repair. It was just like, can't wait to do this. I like really like, you gotta play the game to understand it, maybe. So now I'm just like unapologetically like, yeah, the game side of Death Stranding is really good. And I can't fully sort of articulate why, but it's just, you know, it really satisfies a certain like personality type, I guess. And so I just got closer and closer to the end of this game, and I realized that, oh yeah, we're coming up on, you know, the big finale. And I realized like, oh man, now it's going to turn into the thing that I don't like about this game, which is just endless cutscenes of characters saying incoherent things, and Hideo Kojima just being sort of like way too satisfied with himself as a like director or writer, whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much how the sort of plot side of it wrapped up. Where you sort of like put the missions aside for a bit, and you sit down in front of a bunch of cutscenes where they wrap up the story. And in Death Stranding 2's defense, there were significantly fewer cutscenes than there were at the end of Death Stranding 1. Like, Death Stranding 1, I'm pretty sure was like a feature-length ending. Like, we're talking over an hour and a half at least.
Oh my god.
And it's not good. It's like not like you've played some of Death Stranding 1. The cutscenes are not good. It's really just nonsensical. Not especially well directed or written. All the dialogue sounds like people are like robots, or a Wikipedia article that came to life. And it's just kind of, it doesn't get quite that bad at the end of 2. But at the same time, it just felt like it was not, like, just well considered. He just wanted to do a bunch of cool stuff that felt incredibly unearned by how they had built up the rest of the story throughout the first 90% of the game. And the frustrating thing to me is, like, I could see the potential for a really cool, kind of, like, groundbreaking story in here. Because like at the start of the game, you got Norman Reedus as Sam, and he's got the kid from the first game who was like a little baby, but now she's like, I keep wanting to say like, oh, she's huge, but she's really just like a toddler. So it's like older than a baby, but he spends this, he's been hanging out with this kid, kind of like living in secrecy in his little hideout. And there's some crazy stuff that happens, like no spoilers, but in the relationship between him and this kid is sort of like an adoptive parent. And some of it comes back around at the end of the game, but in a way that is just not handled in like with any amount of like poignancy, or just like I said before, it just doesn't feel well considered. It just feels like he had these cool ideas for like, this will be a great story beat,
right?
And he just drops it in, and it's
because nobody says no to.
Yeah. That is, the common thread between this, anything I don't really care for that he does. It's like, if he had just had a team of people, he was sort of like not focus grouping, but just other opinions in the room, other people, who would say like, well, what if we did it like this? I think you could have had like an amazing story in this game, but that's just not how it worked out. And actually, so now that you mentioned they're working on a movie, it gets me thinking, like, oh, what if they just handed it off to somebody, like, I don't know. I feel like they did a great job with The Last of Us adaptation. Yeah. Or at least the first season. I think the verdict is still kind of uneven on the second season.
Yes.
But I think it's a good example of somebody taking like the source material and doing an adaptation that is pretty faithful to it, but is still different enough for like it like makes sense for a different medium. But I have to think like he's going to have pretty tight control over whatever the movie ends up being. Like I don't think he's going to be able to be that hands off for them to be able to make a good movie out of it.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like his style at all.
No. And that's like, I feel like that's just been his dream for the longest time, is to make a big Hollywood movie. So, I'd love to be optimistic about it, because I like the outline of Death Stranding 2, like the story. There's some really amazing stuff in there, but he's just not making it happen. So anyway, I had to remind myself, like, I was enjoying everything else in the game up to that point. Like, I was just so down on the cutscene, the / story side of the ending, that I was just like, this was the worst game I ever played. But no, like, the rest of it was actually really good. Like, I would probably play Death Stranding 3. Still weirdly, like, it did not innovate a whole lot over the first one. It was just a lot of refinement. And it never had the big, like, Metal Gear Solid 2 moment. But it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
I like my roads.
You like the cozy game buried inside of Death Stranding.
It's kind of a cozy game. Yeah. It's for some reason, it's just relaxing to build out a zipline network over the mountains or whatever. Actually, this is the last thing I'll say about it is, so there's like a final boss fight. There's actually several final boss fights in the game, which were like pretty trivial, thankfully, because I like the boss fights in the first one weren't very good. But some of the final missions in the game ask you to basically like trek across the entire continent of Australia, or just like go back and forth to do these like huge long range deliveries. And I was like, oh man, this would be an intense delivery if you were just like either on foot, or you had to sort of like just wing it with like in a truck, go off road or something like that. But because I had spent so much time building out this extensive zipline network, and I had restored most of the highways across Australia, it was like an incredibly simple mission. And I feel like
well, nice.
that was really like sort of the gameplay last boss is like this massive delivery you have to do, because that's the gameplay that I'm there for. And I was like, okay, this is where it all pays off. I mean, not like I wasn't getting all this use out of the zip lines before, but, because I had put all this effort in, because I had the foresight to create this amazing delivery network, I was able to do it in I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. It was incredible.
Nice.
It was so satisfying.
Oh, good. Well, that's a fortuitous accident.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't an accident. That was the whole reason I was doing it.
Oh, you knew that was going to happen? It was going to...
Well, I mean, I didn't know that was the specific objective of that mission, but the reason I was doing it, I was just like, I just want to make my life easier doing these deliveries. I want to make it easier to get from one end of the continent to the next. And it turned out that was super important.
Yeah. Well, and you like making roads and zip lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah. As conflicted as I am about just, Hideo Kojima getting to direct a cutscene or write the story.
The Kojima of it all.
Yeah, man, he still does make a pretty good video game. He should just have somebody else write it, which seems like it's probably never going to happen, which is annoying.
There was something at the Tokyo Game Show last week that his production company was announcing all of the stuff that they're working on. Did you see this or hear about this?
I saw that he gave a couple updates on a few projects he had mentioned, I think.
Yeah, and a couple of them were pretty normal things. I think there's a game that he's making that's very much like a Metal Gear thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he talked about the TV show, and then there were all these other sort of weird things. I'm like, wow. So, one, there's money coming in, and two, people are just not saying no to Kojima. So, yeah.
It's kind of crazy to me that he still gets sort of the blank check from Sony or whoever is funding him. Yeah. Because, I don't understand how the story side of Death Stranding, especially, is landing with so many people. I don't even, I'm kind of surprised that people like the gameplay side of it, if I'm being completely honest, because it's really weird. But, I know people are excited for the Metal Gear thing. The other thing was, the horror game, right?
Yes. OD
or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That was sort of the variation on the Silent Hill thing that he had cooking when he left.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's so good at doing, sort of pushing the envelope on, gaming experiences, not to sound too pretentious. But, I think he still generally does have some of the best ideas, or some of the most creative ideas out there. But, so I'm very curious to see how those play. When he trots out a bunch of celebrities and talks about how he's, how much effort he's put into the facial and performance capture on all of them, I'm just this part is it's not making me optimistic.
Yeah, and it never looks good.
Yeah, it was it looked pretty good in Death Stranding too. Some of the characters, at least, I was this is. I mean, it's still a little Uncanny Valley, but
yeah,
man, it's come a long way.
Huh. It didn't look great in Death Stranding 1. That was one of my takeaways from that. So,
yeah, no, a lot of the people look weird in Death Stranding 1, but yeah, it's progressed since then. It's actually pretty impressive.
Well, good.
Yeah.
What else we got? You and I played. This is a weird detour here from Death Stranding, but we played LEGO Voyagers together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We voyaged across all of Australia.
So this is a new game. This is came out a couple weeks ago. Published by Annapurna. It is a co-op only puzzle game. Where you and your co-op partner, and it has online co-op and it has couch co-op, which is super cool. You and your partner are little 1x1 Lego bricks, and you do things together. You go on a voyage and build some stuff and overcome obstacles and solve some puzzles, and things happen. Yep. The hook of it is that there's a rocket launch that's visible from your little Lego house, and something goes a little sideways. So you go on a voyage to sort of I guess kind of rebuild the rocket, right? That's what you and I have been doing.
It's like kind of unclear. It's been unclear the whole time what exactly they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of something I don't think it does well. I mean, it definitely doesn't explain it well, but also it's not that important to like
right.
enjoying the game, I guess.
This does not have feature-length cutscenes.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing is zero dialogue. You and your co-op partner can hit a button to make little chirpy noises and things like that. Some of them are cute and funny because they're kind of context sensitive. There was a point where DJ and I were little Lego bricks on the roof of a train car that was moving. And if you hit the little speak button, the little bricks would go choo 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 choo.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. And I was just like, are they doing that? I was like, Is that on purpose? I guess it was. That was good.
Yeah, and I think you and I both sort of agreed kind of for the first kind of half of the game, it was a lot of like collect enough bricks to build a bridge to get across the bridge to the next thing, where you would collect enough bricks to make a bridge to get across to the next thing. And then in the last couple of hours, they've definitely sort of cranked up the intensity. The puzzles have gotten a lot bigger and there's more steps to them. And it's not just sort of bridge building. You're kind of assembling different works and solving puzzles and flipping switches and trying to figure out how to get your partner across after you've gone, and kind of classic co-op game things, but certainly much more complex and kind of multi-stepped obstacles you have to overcome in the back half of the game.
Yeah. Let me tell you, we played probably the first half of this on the stream, and after that, I was 100% ready to just throw this completely under the bus. I was just like, Annapurna strikes again. I forget. Like, I'm stealing this from somebody else who was saying like every Annapurna game is like B+ concept with a C- execution, and I was like, yeah, that like it tracks for a surprising number of their games. I feel like that's a really like it's like Lego co-op puzzle solving. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
but then the first half is so like brain dead. Or not all the puzzles, but it felt like most of the puzzles where player 1 stands on the switch to extend a bridge, player 2 stands on the switch on the other side of the bridge, and yeah, not especially stimulating. And then, like I said, the sort of the story or the whatever is happening is unclear. Yeah. There's not a lot of like building in it for a Lego game. And even when you do get to build, it's always just like the most basic sort of, put 3 pieces together to make a bridge over a gap.
Yeah.
And probably did that like 10 times.
Pretty building either. It's a lot of like, these are the parts I have, and I'm going to build the jankiest, ugliest, ricketiest bridge to get across. So yeah, you're not like creating Lego masterpieces by any means. It's very functional.
Yes, yeah, that's a good term for it. Okay, well, so that's the first half of the game. And then we came back to it this weekend to try and wrap it up. And it does improve substantially for the second half. Like, the puzzles get more interesting. There were some times where we were actually, like, stumped and we're not sure what to do.
Yes. Which did not happen at all in the first couple of hours. The path forward was very clear initially. And yeah, there were probably 2 or 3 scenarios in the back half of the game where you and I were like, I don't know what it wants us to do. And you just have to like, it's that portal thing where you're like, well, let's try some stuff and see what happens. What if I do this? What if I pick up this? What if I flip this switch? Yeah. And that's, I like that in a kind of I like that in a first person puzzle game, but I also sort of like that about where LEGO Voyagers ultimately went. And I was kind of happy it went there. Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, my impression of the first half were like, okay, maybe this is just, it's a game for a younger audience. You can't throw like Portal 2 caliber puzzles in there. Maybe this is just sort of what like Lego wants to do as sort of like how they want their brand to come across in Lego games. Because like those Traveler's Tales Lego games were not like, you didn't need to be a pro gamer to get through any of those. They were just, hang out on your couch with your buddies and sort of breeze through a fun video game. And that's sort of like what the first half felt to me, except like in a co-op puzzle genre. But yeah, the second half, it's still not quite Portal 2, but
Yeah.
I did have a much better time with the puzzles in it. I feel like it gets, I was going to say it got closer to what I had in mind, but yeah, that's pretty much what I was expecting the second half of this game. Still not a lot of building, but
yeah,
whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's just difficult to do in a game like this.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of glad there wasn't a lot of really elaborate building, because I think that even 5 or 6 hours into this thing, and I don't think it's a very long game, I'm still struggling with the controls a little bit. Just trying to get parts to line up in the way that I want them to, being able to like, because you can kind of hit a button repeatedly to like click to the nearest brick. And then you can hit the button again and it'll click to another brick, and you end up sort of like creating a stack of bricks. And it's helpful to like moving parts across the map. But there's no real like elegant way to like to like disengage from that. Like you either just let go of all of them, or you're stuck with this big like Katamari Damacy thing that's rolling across the map.
Yes.
And when you get to your destination, you're trying to lay out those bricks in a very specific way to like achieve something. Again, it's like trying to get them to kind of move on a grid or click together in the way that you want or line up properly feels more finicky and difficult than I think a game like this should.
And it's not like there's a whole lot else that you're doing in this game. So I feel like that is maybe just a failing straight up. Like they should have just made the building like better. Just put it plainly. Which is a little disappointing, but it's not like it didn't really like get in the way a lot of the time. It felt kind of inconvenient when we wanted to do something very specific.
Yeah, there's a scenario later in the game where you have like a conveyor belt at the bottom of the screen of different Lego parts going by, and there's paint sprayers at the top of the screen where you can like pick up a part, take it to the paint sprayer, dye it, change its color, and then you attach it to the side of an item that becomes kind of important to the game. And this is clearly a scenario where you're supposed to be designing something that looks cool. And DJ and I trying to do it together was so frustrating. Just trying to get the pieces to sort of like sit where we wanted them to or click in the right place or not attach accidentally to the thing next to it. And because you're a Lego brick too, it keeps trying to click you into places, and it didn't like, I'm trying to make something pretty and I just want to get done with it so I can get out of here and stop fucking with these controls.
That could have been, they could have spent a little more time on that.
So that was a little frustrating. And I, you know, if you're an 8-year-old playing this with your mom or dad, and I don't know that would be fun for you. So I think if they're trying to make a family-friendly, approachable kids kind of game, I don't know that they've nailed that either, unfortunately.
I'd be curious to see how that plays out, because on one hand, I'm like, maybe the kids don't care as much about building that perfect thing they envisioned, like I guess we were trying to do. But also, it was very frustrating.
All of that said, however, it's quite beautiful. A lot of these big landscapes and like mountain passes and deserts. And one of the fun things that they do is they try to sort of evoke kind of wildlife using very limited kind of brick sets. So you end up with little like birds on a telephone wire, and they're made out of like little 1x2s and things like that. There were, what was the other one? Little scorpions running around on the ground. And it was clearly like a little black 2 piece of Lego with a hand from a Lego minifig attached to it as the claws. And I'm like, oh, that's clever. So there's a lot of fun. Like everything in it is kind of brick made. So it never really breaks the illusion that you're playing a Lego game.
The actual environments in this are incredible because they're all just Lego pieces. And for the most part, it feels like they are all sort of like common Lego pieces, for lack of a better description. Like when I think of a big fancy Lego set these days, it's one of the, I don't know, like Star Wars crossover kind of deals where you're building a very specific thing that, everybody knows what the Death Star looks like, or an X-Wing. And in order to preserve sort of the look of it, they've added in a bunch of custom pieces that are just like, oh, this is just, an X-Wing cockpit or nose or whatever.
Right.
But in this, there's very little of that happening, if at all. Like, all of it is just Lego pieces that would come in other sets. And like, so everything in the terrain is built out of little blocks. There's so much detail. It's not just these big chunky landscapes or anything. Everything looks very sort of like organic, I guess, as much as like a Lego landscape could look.
Right.
But there were a bunch of times when I just sort of stopped and like gawked at, a little section that had caved out of a cliff or something, because it was just like somebody had to construct it out of Lego pieces for it to be in this game.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, all the little wildlife that appears it's also very creative. None of them are like it's like a little sculpted bird piece. It's just what two tiny Lego pieces, when put together, looks like a bird or like evokes a bird.
Right.
It was really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, DJ and I played this on Switch. It's on, I think, just about everything. It just came out a couple weeks ago. The cool thing about the way that it handles online multiplayer or co-op, and I think I mentioned this before, is that only one of you needs a copy of it. Your co-op partner can download kind of a Friends Pass version of the game and play for free with you online. So that certainly makes it a lot more approachable, I think, rather than it relying on both of you to have a copy of this, $20-something game. A couple little quibbles with the way that it controls, and certainly would like something that feels like a slightly more advanced level of difficulty, at least in the first couple of hours. But I always enjoy playing video games with you, DJ. But
it's still a cool like hangout game. I mean, I like those Traveler's Tale games too. Yeah, but
the co-op in those is fun too.
Yeah, we played Portal 2 together, and that was just like, man, they really just hit the ground running with that one.
Yeah,
but also that's a completely different experience. They probably had something different in mind.
Right. Yeah. This is called LEGO Voyagers. Any other thoughts, DJ?
No. I'm still surprised that they made something that is not a sort of Traveler's Tale Lego game.
Yeah. There is a new one of those coming too.
Yeah. Of course there is. I guess I spent a lot of time playing the Lego Fortnite mode, which actually, if I remember correctly, it gave you much more freedom in how you build. It was almost like Minecraft in a way. I guess that's maybe that was the original hook. It was like, we don't have Minecraft and Fortnite yet, so here's how we're going to do it. And it was a Lego version, which was cool. I should go back and check out some more of that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. This is cool and kind of unique in that it is not some licensed thing with Lego. It's not Lego Batman or Ninjago or something like that. It is, you're just a couple of Legos doing Lego things. And I think it sort of is successful on those merits. It doesn't need to have Batman in it.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. What else? What else did we play? I mentioned Strange Antiquities. I've been playing Strange Antiquities. This is also a spooky game. This came out just last week as well. This is the sequel to Strange Horticulture, which was a game that came out 2-3 years ago. I have played twice, which is a thing I don't do very often with video games. I like that game a lot. In that game, in Strange Horticulture, you run a kind of creepy plant shop in a kind of proto-Victorian town. Where a lot of strange things are happening outside of your shop. The sequel, Strange Antiquities, you'll never guess, you run an antique store now.
Is this in the same town?
It's in the same town, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you actually go to Strange Horticulture at some point in Strange Antiquities.
Oh man,
which is really cool.
Does it scan your save file, put your character in there?
I wish you got like extra, like cosmetics or something because you played the prequel. No, nothing quite like that. But yeah, so it's got a whole new interface. The thing that I kind of sort of appreciated about Strange Horticulture, and there's a very similar approach in Strange Antiquities, is that you kind of have kind of like the employee side of a counter, essentially, where you've got kind of all these shelves and stuff like that where you can stock your antiques in this game, flowers and plants in the other game. You have a cat on the counter whose head you can scratch. Yes, you can pet the cat. Every time you ring the little bell on the counter, the door opens and another customer walks into your building. You can go out into the town and travel and explore and stuff like that to like pick up new antiques and to check out things in the community. A benefactor comes into the shop at some point and says, I have this big old beautiful house with a ton of antiques in it. You're welcome to anything that you find. And here's a tip for a couple of cool things you should look for your first visit. So you do leave the shop to go kind of explore his giant sprawling country house, and you get a map of this. But it doesn't turn into like a first-person game where you're exploring. You're really just kind of walking around on the map, and you get kind of like a little text narrative that kind of explains where you're going and what you see. You walk into the room and peel back the curtains, dust and spiders are everywhere, and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of literary and unique, rather than it turning into some other type of game. Your entire view essentially is either the map of the town, the map of the shop, or it's just you standing behind the counter at Strange Antiquities waiting for customers to come in.
Is that how you navigated the first game?
Yes, yeah. So if you want to travel in the first game, you just got out the map of the town. And you would get hints and clues, and a customer would come in and say, hey, I saw this really unique flower growing at this corner and from a dead log on this place, blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember exactly where I was, but I think I saw this and I saw this nearby. And you kind of look at your map and you look at landmarks and you look at little clues and context. And, there's somebody made a note here on the map about a dead fallen tree. And there's the, restaurant that I think they mentioned. And there's an intersection nearby. Maybe this is the place. And you go to that place on the map. I'm making air quotes here. But again, it doesn't turn into like, you walking down the street. It doesn't turn into a third-person exploration game. It is all sort of done in kind of the narrative of the game with you behind the shop just looking at your map.
Oh, interesting. Okay. For some reason, I had this mental image of like you going out and not foraging, but sort of wandering through the forest or somewhere to collect plants and herbs in that game.
Yes. I mean, you do that because you have to get new inventory into your shop. But the way that the game handles it and a very similar process in Strange Antiquities is super unique and I think kind of specific to how this developer has a kind of approached these games, in that you run a flower shop or an antique store, and that kind of remains your perspective throughout. Anytime you leave it to go do other things in the town or to explore or to get new products to sell or whatever, it handles it as like pages in a book or little tarot cards or things like that. All these other little hints and notes and things that indicate you've left and are exploring, or et cetera, but it doesn't change your view ever in the game.
Okay. For some reason, so you're like never walking a little character around?
No, never. No.
Okay.
No. You actually don't even see the character that you play as. Because your perspective, again, is from their side of the counter. So you're really, you're like opening drawers and you're ordering things on shelves. In horticulture, you'd write little tags on plants that you sort of eventually discover the name of and attach them to the plant. You have a couple of different tomes and texts, and you get new ones as the game goes. So you can kind of flip through and look at images and go, I think it's this plant. I don't want to accidentally poison somebody, or maybe I do. So you've got to make sure you give them the right thing. So it's a lot of you kind of doing research and trying to sort of solve puzzles about, is this the right amulet that they're looking for? Because these two kind of look very similar, but this one's slightly different, and maybe it's the one that has this effect that they want.
Yeah.
And Strange
I think
Antiquities.
it's just like I can't imagine a game, or I can't think of a game where you're collecting herbs, and not imagine you actually like going up to different bushes and like pressing A to pick a flower or whatever. This is like I've played that game hundreds of times.
Yeah. It's yeah, it is really unique in the way that they sort of approach it. And then as you sort of like you find this thing out in the wild, it does then, when you get back to the shop, show you that plant sitting on the counter at the shop, and you put it on your shelf. You like click the little hand and drag it to a place on the shelf, and you sort of organize the shelves of your store in a way that kind of makes sense to you. Strange Antiquities is very similar, but you don't actually get to see the thing that you're collecting until you actually get back to your shop. So it's cool. I think I really like that they've sort of, these developers have like, this is the perspective and this is the view you're going to have, and everything else kind of happens in these little windows, and in these context clues and these notes or these books that you get, or customers that come in and give you information. As a retailer, I find it very satisfying. But I think it's just kind of a unique way to sort of address narrative in the game. It doesn't ever turn into a thing where you're, like DJ said, you're not, a little person working through a field hitting A to pick flowers.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a puzzle you have to solve. And the way you go about it is you open up your map and you go, I think it's here. And then you kind of hedge your bet on that, and a narrative unfolds from there.
See, that's what you would do as a responsible, like, business owner / researcher. You would make as informed of a decision as possible and not just go wander blindly through the city or the forest. Be like, is it this one? Is it this one? Yeah. You want to have at least a little bit of a plan.
Right. Yeah. And in Antiquities, you are not the shop owner. You're the shop owner in horticulture. In Antiquities, you're an apprentice. So but the owner leaves you all the time. He'll give you some advice. Make sure you don't open this secret cabinet. There's very dangerous things in there. So of course,
you can't say
I need to open that freaking cabinet. And as people sort of come into the shop, they sort of address you. Is your boss around? Well, I guess you'll do. Can you give me some advice on this, and this, and this? So it's again a slightly different perspective from the other one, in that you were a horticulturalist in the other game, and you were supposed to know a lot about these things. In Antiquities, you're meant to be kind of a bit of a newbie and kind of stumbling through your resources and doing your research, trying to make sure you find the right thing. And people are sort of like doubtful of you because you're not, the shopkeeper who's run this antique store for 100 years.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask that as well, because in Strange Horticulture, you're sort of like new in town, right?
You're new in town, but you're not new to the job.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they had like attempted to replicate that, or in this one, you're just you've got your reputation already. But I guess if you're just the apprentice, then there is still a little bit of that uncertainty that people would have.
The shop has a reputation because it's been there, and the shopkeeper is a character that will come in periodically and will talk to you and give you advice and stuff like that before he goes off on some other adventure. And typically when he comes back, he's like, look at these cool things that I found, and he adds a few more things to your inventory. It's cool. I dig it. It is at its heart a puzzle game, but it's character driven in a way that is super satisfying. There's consequences for making bad choices if you pick the wrong thing. If somebody says, I need an amulet to protect me from X, Y, and Z, and you use all of your best information and your tomes and your texts to try to sort of like, I think it's this, I hope it's this, and you give it to them, and then bad things happen, and you kind of have to deal with the consequences. You start to lose your grip on reality the more you make bad mistakes. There's consequences for goofing up. So it's good. I really like it. I love the aesthetic. I love the vibe. The music is kind of cool and creepy. The town is dealing with a weird sort of confluence of dark events.
That's not good.
Yeah. But it's, you don't ever actually see the town though. So it's just people sort of come rushing into your shop, and they're sort of gripping their coat and they're soaking wet because it's pouring out. And there's ravens all along Main Street. I don't know what's happening. I just saw them attack a man. And you get to sort of hear about all of this from the perspective of people who come into your creepy store.
Okay. And this, something that happens in this town was established in the first game.
there's dark things happening in the woods. Yeah, which is very similar to what happened in Strange Horticulture. So yeah, I dig it. I really, really like this game. I would encourage people. I think Strange Horticulture right now is like $2 or $3 in the eShop. Would recommend folks check that out. But I really like what they're doing with Antiquities as well. And man, make a whole town. I think there's tons of cool little shops and yeah. Make a movie theater one, make a clothing store one. I think there's tons of things you can do with this whole prototype of strange shops in this weird little town.
Yeah, it was just like 3 or 4 more of these. You'll be ready for the Strange Horticulture Avengers or whatever.
The Strange Unified Universe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Maybe I'll throw Strange Horticulture on the list for a Spooky Saturday, because I never played that one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Don't want to miss any of the backstory. You can't jump straight into Strange Antiquities.
I think you can't. I would encourage folks, if any of this sounds interesting to you, get Strange Horticulture while it's cheap. I think it's so good, and you can't beat that price. So if you're looking for a place to jump in, I think the sub $5 price on Strange Horticulture makes it a no-brainer from my perspective.
Do you get the sense that they're building like a continuous storyline between these, or it's just kind of a fun thing that they're set in the same town?
I don't know. There is not a lot thus far. I haven't finished Antiquities yet, but there's not a lot so far that excuse me, that makes me feel like this is meant to be kind of a continuation of the story in Strange Horticulture.
Yeah.
But you can't sort of ignore the fact that both of these shops exist in this town where a lot of weird stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And I think at some point, narratively, you probably have to address that in Antiquities.
Wait, were all those businesses you just mentioned, are those like conspicuous structures on the map in town? So there's like a weird movie theater?
There's not a movie theater because it's Victorian, so that didn't exist, obviously. But I would love a video game about running a spooky theater.
Yeah. Well, would that be like we went down to the penny arcade or whatever,
or Playhouse or something like that? Sure.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of pubs. A game about running a haunted, spooky pub could be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, the map of the town has a ton of little landmarks on it, and sometimes they're places that you do go in the context of the game. But it would be interesting to sort of shift the perspective to running one of these other shops in a future Strange game.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder where they're going to go next.
Yeah, I don't know. But okay, so this is called Strange Antiquities. I'm playing it on the Switch. I know it's on Steam Deck as well, and therefore on Steam. So if any of this sounds fun, I would encourage people to check them out.
Cool. Yeah, I should get around to this. Spooky month seems like a good chance, so yeah, maybe I'll add that in there.
Cool. And then last but not least, you played Fellowship.
Yeah, I spent a little time with this game. They were doing an open sort of like beta test, I guess, last weekend. It's kind of a weird case because I really did not play a lot of this. I played like one round of it. It probably took about 20 minutes. But just on that round, I feel like I have just seen the entire game and I understand it. Because what this is... I don't think
I know what this is. Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so what this is it's basically a MMO/dungeon sort of... not MMO/dungeon, what am I talking about? It's an MMO dungeon / like group raid game. So it's like just the dungeons or raids from like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV. Without any of the, the open world exploration or anything. So if you were really into just putting a party together with 3 of your friends and killing like trash mobs for loot and dungeon bosses, this might be your thing. It's funny because I've seen a bunch of stuff pop up that, like a bunch of other games pop up that are clearly attempting to sort of replicate the boss and like trial experience from Final Fantasy XIV specifically. But this is the first one that I've seen that appears to be going after World of Warcraft. And not having played a lot of World of Warcraft, I am not incredibly informed about how the raids work in that game, but it's still familiar enough where I'm just like, okay, I sort of get what's happening here. Like, you've got the archetypes, like the tank and the healer and the damage dealers, and the boss does these moves you have to react to, and sometimes you have to, like, interrupt something they're casting, that sort of stuff. But it's interesting because there are, like, played a lot of MMOs at this point. There are not, or I feel like there are not a lot of other games out there that sort of replicate the experience of the combat in those games, which is kind of weird, I think. And like I said, I haven't played a lot of World of Warcraft, so it was a little strange jumping into this, but I'm curious because I thought, like, I don't see myself playing, like, actual World of Warcraft anytime soon, but maybe this will be a cool way to get a taste of what that's like, because, I see comparisons all the time of what the 14 experience is like compared to raiding in WoW. So it ended up being a little bit of sort of like insight into how the WoW side of things worked. So first of all, it's like clearly designed, or at least from my perspective, it feels clearly designed to be familiar to World of Warcraft players. So you like load up the game. Aesthetically, it looks very similar to like World of Warcraft or like a Blizzard design game. And this is something else I found very interesting. It goes all the way to the extent of sort of recreating not just the style of the Warcraft interface, but like player created mods are a big thing in World of Warcraft. And a lot of the time, if you see somebody raiding in those games, they will have these very like popular sort of like third-party mods to keep track of things like what the enemies are doing, or they present elements of the UI in more intuitive ways. It's easier for you to keep an eye on like your party's health or like their magic, their mana levels or whatever. And it feels like they just went straight for that when they were designing the UI to this, because you load it up and it's like, okay, it kind of looks like Warcraft, but it also looks like Warcraft when you've already installed all of these like mods. And that was very interesting to me because it's like, okay, it feels very familiar if you're into this, if you come from Warcraft, but to me it just looks like the most like garbage spread all over the screen. Like the mods are not especially like aesthetically pleasing to look at. Like there's just these big chunky meters all over the screen. So you load it up and it just looks like, oh yeah, somebody just spilled a spreadsheet all over my like dungeon. But at the same time, I recognize like, oh yeah, this is what they're going for, because this is sort of like a usability thing. Right. Because it helps you to have all these things while you're doing these dungeons.
And if you don't want those things there, can you pull back on that? Can you turn some of them off, or is it?
That's a good question. I did not spend a lot of time customizing the UI in this because
to make it work for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was like, okay. Well, so first of all, I feel like this is going to have a huge learning curve, not just because of like I need to learn how the game works, but I need to figure out how to like just get the information that I need from the interface. And I thought, okay, this is only going for the weekend. I don't know how much time I want to dump into it, because I've spent hours sort of tweaking my UI in Final Fantasy to get it to where I want it to be. So I just kind of like lived with it. I was like, I'll just pretend I'm a Warcraft player for a while and try and figure stuff out. It's still just a lot of stuff that it's throwing at you. But I imagine that when the full game is done, or maybe even in the beta, you could do this. I imagine you can tweak at least the like positioning of things and how stuff displays.
Right, that would make sense.
That's sort of the whole point of the mods existing in the first place, but not 100% sure how customizable it is at the moment. So I just jumped into a dungeon, not really. I mean, I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out how the characters work, or how the classes work, rather. I picked actually, I started as a tank character, which I was like, I don't know about this. This seems like there's going to be a lot of pressure on me to understand how to use all my tank abilities. And then just ran through one of the dungeons, and it was a real like trial by fire kind of situation, because I know generally what you're supposed to do as a tank. You're supposed to grab the enemy's attention and use all the abilities that reduce the amount of damage you're taking. So in turn, your party is not taking tons of damage because they have less health than you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ran around this dungeon. We fought a bunch of enemies. Made a few attempts on this boss that took a couple of attempts, because the boss, he's got a little some tricky moves that you got to know how to specifically react to. But like that's part of the fun, I think, is sort of figuring out how to overcome whatever he's doing. And then we ended up clearing it. I think I went back in later as a damage dealer, because I was like, okay, I want to maybe turn my brain off a little bit, not worry about keeping the party alive, and just do some damage spells, just to get another perspective on how the dungeons work in this game. But after that, I was just like, okay, I kind of get the picture. It feels like an MMO dungeon. You're doing like a lot of the stuff you end up doing is similar to what I'm used to in Final Fantasy. It just felt slightly more like Warcrafty, if that's a thing. And then, I wasn't super excited to spend a lot more time with it, just because we had a little group of people from the Discord the first time, but then after that, it's I just was doing the random matching, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do random dungeon matching at this point. I don't know how much time I want to spend sort of like learning all the character classes in this. Maybe I'll take another shot at it when the final version comes out. Mm-hmm. But it was just a kind of cool slice of MMO rating from an MMO that doesn't really exist. Which is another interesting thing about it, because there's so much else going on if you're playing a full MMO that is not really in this. And you really just have to be in there because you love doing dungeons and fighting bosses and sort of figuring out the puzzles around the bosses and stuff like that. But I've seen so many posts on like the forums about this where people are asking like, oh, is there going to be like character customization? I saw somebody asking if there's going to be like player housing. And I was like, no, how could that possibly be on the roadmap? You just want to play a real MMO? Or you want to play the full MMO? Like,
this is not that game. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because you sort of expect like, oh, I can't, I don't know, create a custom character and then they pick up one of the jobs. It's like, no, you just have these pre-built like 6 or 7 characters who are then like, you play as that character if you want to be a tank or whatever. Which is, is completely different from the actual MMO experience. But I just thought it was funny seeing some people's expectations in the Steam forums. But it does leave some interesting questions about how they are planning to develop this, because there's some, like in the beta weekend, even there was some progression you could do. Like you earn loot from completing the dungeons, and some sort of like skill points that you use to progress your character's skill tree, like get new abilities that way. But beyond that, I was just like, I guess you just end up doing more dungeons. They're like progressively more difficult dungeons. I think they have plans to do like larger raids with, I don't know how many players they plan to incorporate into those. But it's kind of funny because as soon as you finish all the dungeon content and the raids, that's kind of all there is. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really see it as sort of a replacement for playing like a full MMO with all these other activities and things like that. But it is kind of a cool like piece of an MMO just removed and turned into its own thing. So, like, if you don't think you're into playing the full experience, you don't want to level up your character over hundreds of hours or however long it takes these days.
Right.
And you just want to do something that is actually a pretty sort of intense co-op experience with a small party. It's kind of a cool, unique thing. Because like I was saying, there's not a lot of other games out there that feel like MMO combat to me. So, yeah, I will probably give this another look when the final thing comes out, or if they like do another beta weekend, maybe.
Right. Cool. How big's the party in the game? Is it 4?
4 people, yeah.
Cool.
Tank, healer, 2 damage dealers, which is interesting because I think in Warcraft there are 3 damage dealers, so they've scaled that down a bit.
Huh. It gives them room to add one later.
Yeah, maybe it's just easier to manage 4 people rather than 5. I don't know. Something that I thought was kind of cool is that something that Final Fantasy gets criticized for is that a lot of the jobs, especially the damage jobs, you are really just sort of outputting like tons of damage. Like all of your abilities, there's not a lot of like unique effects to most of them. They just are like do huge damage numbers. And in this, it feels like there's a lot more complexity to each character, even the damage dealing characters. In that, like some of them have sort of like skills that you need to build up or stances that you swap between. I may be getting some of the classes overlapping a bit because I think one of the tanks also had stances. But there did seem to be a more opportunity for even the damage classes to like interrupt a boss ability or something like that. So there was more they could do to help the party besides just doing tons of damage and like chipping away the boss health.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, and I kind of like that because it is something that is not as common in Final Fantasy. So yeah, sometimes I feel like, oh, I wonder if I'm like missing stuff from the Warcraft experience. So again, it was just an interesting way to get a little taste of, what it's like on the other side of the fence.
Right. Well, and because it's new, everybody's on even footing. You're not like jumping in with people who are, 35-year veterans of Warcraft.
That's true. Well, I mean, the one guy, there was like a random guy in the first party that I joined, and he was like, thanks to the mods being sort of like pre-installed, essentially, you can see just how much damage everybody in your party is doing. And this guy was like way beyond what everybody else was doing. Like he clearly knew what was happening. So
was he one of the developers?
I think it was just a guy.
just a random dude, yeah.
Just an MMO guy who wandered into our party through random matchmaking.
He's like, oh, my skill set is perfect for this scenario.
Yeah, I got the impression that there are a lot of people playing this during the beta weekend, so I feel like probably most of them are Warcraft players or have some experience playing that sort of thing. Forget where we got on that tangent.
How far off is the release? Do you know yet?
I think it's coming out later this year, actually. It may be out sometime in the next couple of months.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I'm like definitely keeping my eye on it. It's kind of cool that it is not like an ongoing MMO thing. It seems like something you can just hop in and out of every once in a while. Although they did mention, I think, that there are plans to do like weekly loot rewards, which is a very MMO thing, very live service, where you log in, you get you like clear the dungeon for the week, and you get your restricted loot, and then wait a week to log back in. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see how they develop it once it's out.
Cool. And who's the developer or publisher? Anybody that's
I don't
done this
know.
before?
No, I don't have the name right in front of me. I don't know if it was somebody notable. Apologies to them if they are actually, in fact, notable.
Notable, but it's not Blizzard, right?
No. It was definitely not Blizzard. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I saw you guys in the Discord sort of arranging this, and I had never heard of the game before. I wasn't sure what you guys were doing, and I think I was not available, so I didn't even bother doing the research. So when you said you played it and we're going to talk about it, I was like, well, we will learn together.
Yes. Well, I know I checked it. It is not currently Steam Deck compatible, so I didn't even ask if you're interested. Yeah. I was like 50-50 if you would be into this sort of thing. Although I do, like, once it's out, I think, it's kind of a cool thing for people to experience, because it is very, like I said, I've said this multiple times now, it's just not like other sort of like co-op party games out there. At least that's how I see it.
All right. Cool.
Anyway, that's called Fellowship. It is, pretty sure it's out in a few months.
Nice.
If you're waiting for, the MMO that you spend the rest of your time in to release their big update, maybe this is worth checking out to tide you over.
Just to fill the empty days in between.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right, we should wrap this thing up. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think we covered everything.
Excellent. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Blue Sky, where we're VGHangover.com. And you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. We would love for you to join our Discord. You can hang out with us and chat about video games and other fun things. What have we been talking about over there this week? We've been talking about the Rogue LIX, the portable Game Pass machine, which costs as much as a house.
Well, this is a slight exaggeration.
Yeah. A small house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other things. What else? Yeah. A little bit of that. A little bit of what you've been playing lately. A little bit of Fellowship. So definitely jump in. You can get a link to that at VGHangover.com. And as always, we would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, all of the above. Maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show as well.
Yeah, really appreciate that. Helps us bring in new listeners. So if you don't mind spreading the word of mouth about the show, that would be great. Ask your friends to give us a listen and then tell us what their favorite, MMO character class is. I don't know.
LEGO video game.
LEGO video. Yeah. What's your favorite property that has not yet been adapted into a LEGO game? How about that? Speaking of properties that have been adapted into LEGO games, we'd like to give thanks again to RJ Lake this week for our intro and outro music. You can check out more of his work at spellmynamewithebang.bandcamp.com.
Is this Friday Bandcamp Friday?
Oh, it should be.
It should be.
October something.
You should definitely buy some music.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be back on Monday night where DJ and I will be co-oping, what are we co-oping? Murky Divers, spooky underwater exploration game. You can tune in that night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, October 6th, twitch.tv/VGHangover for all of the fun.
Yeah.
And then back in your ears a week later with a whole new podcast. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
You would think I've never done this before. Like what comes next? Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.